I try, folks. I really do try. And yet, the work just keeps piling up, and it ain't making it any easier for me. It's Zio episode 37 and Ryusoulger episode 11, so let's get to the meat and potatoes here, folks. First off, with Zio, we have reached the Kabuto tribute arc, and it starts, well, there's some parts of it that are interesting, but absolutely nothing to do with actually honoring Kamen Rider Kabuto. It's actually the main plot that's actually starting to get a little bit interesting, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Yeah, it turns out that as a consequence of Kamen Rider Ginga just crashing down to Earth during the Kiva arc, he apparently attracted a whole lot of meteors with him, as he was making a beeline towards Earth. And yeah, since we're in the Kabuto tribute, of course those meteors have worms in them. Why wouldn't they? I mean, the worm thing itself, I don't have much of a problem with, since, hey, there are aliens apparently hibernating in the meteors, so no problem. But, yeah, as soon as they crash land, one of them, just for some ungodly reason, decides to turn into Kageyama, aka Kamen Rider Kickhopper. Yeah, I know that I've seen Kabuto. I know that what the worms are capable of, that they're capable of copying the appearance and memories of a person that they're mimicking, but they can't do it to somebody who's been dead for years. Yeah, anybody who hasn't seen Kabuto, Kageyama, aka Kamen Rider Kickhopper, he died at the end of at the end of Kabuto, and it was at the hands of his bro, or you know what? Let's just say right here, his oh god, what was the term again? I keep forgetting. Yeah. Yeah, he was killed. Yeah. Now I remember the terms. Yeah. Yeah, Kageyama. He was killed by he was killed by his seme. Yeah, Yaguru. He was killed by his seme, Kamen Rider Punch Hopper Yaguruma, who. Yaguruma, he's another Kabuto. Yeah, Ur was just wandering around Tokyo Tower, and he had another Kabuto ride watch, and I guess he found Yaguruma. Is like, hey, you're now Kabuto. Boink. So yeah, Yaguruma is basically running around causing, doing whatever the hell he wants with this worm Kageyama, who, even though he's a worm, he's also able to turn into Punch Hopper. Yeah, I know that before you say anything, I know that the Zectors in Kabuto are self-aware. They choose their wielders, basically that's how Yaguruma actually became Punch Hopper in the first place, since, he was originally Kamen Rider the Bee, and yes, I know, the Bee, it's not, it's all one word, and it's silly. Yeah, for those who haven't seen Kabuto, Yaguruma is, he's one half of the Hell Brothers, of himself and Kageyama, who are Kamen Riders Punch Hopper and Kickhopper, who are basically just, they're an Uke and Seme, they're an over-the-top parody of Uke and Seme stuff, basically, if you haven't seen Kabuto, just watch their stuff. They're unintentionally hilarious, and basically, throughout all their scenes, you'll just basically be thinking that line of Tristan's from Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge, is saying, just fuck already! That's basically all their scenes. But yeah, anyways, on to the important stuff. With a new crop of worms running around on Earth, more meteors coming, and of course carrying more worms, and Yaguruma running around as another Kabuto, Sogo and his team figured that, this is a good opportunity to try and get the Kabuto ride watch. And yeah, speaking of the Bee, the guy that replaced Yaguruma, Kagami, aka Kamen Rider Gatak, shows up to, hey, the worms are Zek's job to get rid of, so, the Silas worms, the non-native worms. It's, again, see Kabuto, you'll know what, Anyways, Kagami's running around back as Kamen Rider Attack, basically go and do cleanup on the worms, since the Zect Riders are the only ones that are capable of matching the worm's super speed thanks to their high metabolism. Yeah, the clock up abilities. And yeah, since Yaguruma's running around as another Kabuto, and killing the worm Kageyama is Kagami's top priority. He's at a bit of a bypass when he's facing down another Kabuto. But yeah, before Sogo and the guys actually run into Kagami, Tsukiyomi actually starts bringing up the point of, hey, wait a minute, if there's some other riders running around and we met their original selves, like with another Blade and another Akito, why haven't their histories been erased? It's a little too late for you to start asking those questions now, Sho. Okay, I can see why she didn't start connecting the dots with, with another Kiva and another, what were the another riders that they another Kiva and trying to remember. Hold on a second. Another Hibiki. Yeah, I can see why she wasn't asking those questions with when another Hibiki and another Kiva were running around, since and Hibiki's case, Kyosuke apparently awakened to becoming the next Hibiki, right? And Wataru wasn't anywhere to be seen when another Kiva was running around, so. But again, she should have started asking those questions at least back when another Blade, actually no, even further back, when another Zio was running around. Yeah, as soon as, another Zio should have been the biggest tipping point as to saying, hey, wait a minute, what's going on with this new crop of another riders? Since, another Zio, before another Blade was running around, it was pretty much established that once another rider was created, the Kamen Rider whose powers they're stealing from, their history, it gets overwritten for the another writer. And when she should have noticed that something was insanely wrong when another Zio was running around while Sogo was still Zio. Again, Sho, you far past your chance to try and correct yourself with this, because this was written by idiots. Ugh. And speaking of idiots, actually, speaking of stupid stuff, not really stupid, but actually kind of more. Well, it's pretty much predicting it's going to get stupid because it's Zio. It's going to be answered in the dumbest way possible. Yeah, while while Katak and another Kabuto and Punch Hopper were fighting. Kick Hopper. I keep getting those two mixed up. Whatever. It was Gatak, another Kabuto, and Kick Hopper. Right. Which one was Uke-chan again? Let's see. Punch Hopper. Sorry. Anyways, while Gatak, another Kabuto, and Punch Hopper were fighting, Tsukiyomi was actually able to use her time jacker powers to stop time and save a mother and her kid, which actually started to trigger some memories of her when she was a kid. And she happened to remember that there was a certain guy with a certain hat. And spoilers, it's Schwartz. Schwartz was somehow involved with Tsukiyomi and her family. And I'm guessing that the time jacker powers are basically tied to Tsukiyomi's family some big family secret of Tsukiyomi's family. Schwartz stole it and started his whole time jacker and other writer bullshit. I'm guessing that's going to be the big twist in there. Or maybe he's secretly her brother. Dun dun dun. Because it's Zio. You could tell if you could basically figure out the resolution of these things if you stop and think about it for just a millisecond. And but stopping and thinking for a second there, when Sogo and was actually going to talk with Kagami after the whole skirmish, he actually goes and drops a bit of a bombshell and wondering, hey, wait a minute, when was Shibuya rebuilt like this? And when he asked about the meteor that brought the original crop of worms that he and Soji Tendo, the original Kabuto, fought back at their series, they were like, the meteor that crashed into Shibuya in 1999. They were like, what's he talking about? And also, given that Tsukasa is wandering around, I think I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Yeah, at the end of Decade, apparently, the end goal of Tsukasa's journey as Decade was to merge all the histories of the Kamen Riders that preceded him, of the Heisei Riders that preceded him from Kuga to Kiva, since the policy at the time was basically that every single new Heisei Kamen Rider, that every Kamen Rider for the Heisei era would basically be kept in their own separate universe. There was, Kuga's universe, Kuga, Agito, Ryuki. I mean, that was basically the entire point of the AR worlds, which again failed miserably since, the AR worlds are completely completely separate from the original Rider series, but we're not getting into that again. And yeah, that coupled with the reemergence of the Ryuki Riders, Tsukasa's presence, and the conflicting histories of their Tokyos, that kind of points to, basically when Tsukasa merged the worlds. Every single Kamen Rider series past Double has been in the same universe as established by the movies. But from Kuga through Decade, with the worlds merging, it was an imperfect merging. It's basically they're trying to turn Zio into Crisis on Infinite Earths. Where all the conflicting histories are merging together, it's not merging properly. So when Kagami asked about how Shibuya got rebuilt so quickly and nobody knows what he's talking about, that's raising a very big red flag. And again, also the emergence of the Ryuki Riders, since due to the events of their show, they were erased from history. So I'm guessing that the reason why Tsukasa is still running around and targeting Sogo, sometimes helping him, sometimes not, just doing whatever he wants. Basically, my theory is that Omazio is basically the result of an anomaly and the improper time merging. Omazio, basically the Kamen Rider Zio was never meant to exist. He's basically an anomaly and a culmination of the imperfect merging of the worlds. So, basically, so long as Zio exists, the Kamen Rider timelines will never merge properly. And again, that's probably their backwards way of trying to, not only mediate all the conflicting histories of the various from the Kuga through Kiva Kamen Rider series, but also trying to backslide on the imperfect integration of build. Since back in the first episode, there was an insane amount of inconsistencies. Such as, even though he looks like Sento, he's still referred to as Takumi. I might be thinking, but I could be reading way too much into this. I mean, it's sad when some schmuck on the internet when some schmuck on the internet who's not even in the same country as your show is actually putting more thought into your show. So anyways, back to the stupid stuff with the faux Kabuto homage. There's meteors coming down. They're not just bringing worms, but apparently Kamen Rider Ginga, being a sore loser, inadvertently cast the meteor spell from Final Fantasy. Apparently the core Ginga spell was the Black Materia. Since he inadvertently summoned a giant meteor, like at least the size of the moon, and it's making a beeline straight towards Earth. So unless Waz goes and demonstrates that new Ginga Mirai watch that he's got and cranks it up to like the 10th gear, Earth is screwed way before the time Jackers could do whatever it is they're trying to do, way before Oma Day. And after they claimed the Kabuto Ride Watch, they just had to go and establish the creation of Deno and Drive. And even then, we still haven't seen another Drive or another Decade. So basically Sogo and Waz go off to try and find the worm Kageyama, and he's leading them into a blindingly obvious trap, but Sogo trips in anyway, not because he's at first it seems like he's because of Sogo's a naive idiot, but it was actually to try and lure out another Kabuto. Waz cleans his clock, then the whole thing with the meteor thing happens. Oh, and even though Yaguruma is still another Kabuto, he can also turn back into Kamen Rider Kickhopper, which he uses to escape from Wa's Ginga. And yeah, basically, yeah. Even though Yaguruma knows that Kageyama, the Kageyama that's hanging around with him, is just a worm that's somehow able to mimic him, he's like, well, yeah, he's still going on his self-loathing shtick, and yeah, apparently has never gotten over it ever since the show ended. So, yeah, dude, just go to a therapist for the love of crap. And he's like, I'm lower than dirt. Only worms would talk to me. Yeah, you're even worse than the maggots in the dirt maggot. Ah. So yeah, basically, it's my headcanon now that basically throughout all these years, ever since he lost his powers as the Bee, Yaguruma has basically been haunted by visions of Mr. Popo. That's the only way that makes sense to me. Other than that, yeah, actually building up to something actually somewhat interesting with Waz, maybe with no Schwartz, sorry, building up some mystery behind Tsukiyomi's time jacker powers, and yeah, we're getting closer to the end of the legendary writer tribute episodes. So yeah, once he gets creates the Deno and Drive Ride watches, that's where we're gonna get ourselves Zio's final form. And yeah, apparently it's called Grand Zio. And then they can focus on dealing with the Time Jackers and eventually trying to subvert the Oma Zio destiny. Yeah. Still kind of annoying. Anyways, moving on to Ryusoulger episode 11, it's actually somewhat decent. It's not that bad. There's a new Kishiryu running that was uncovered. Dino Volcano, I think his name is. Yeah, Dino Volcano is a Kishiryu that was apparently sealed by the Ryusoul tribe all the way like thousands of years ago because, well, one, he was apparently very strong, very unstable, and well, loved to torch people alive whenever they answered his questions incorrectly. Yeah, apparently this Kishiryu is likes to challenge people with riddles and questions and quizzes and whatnot. And anyone who gets them wrong, he just roasts them like marshmallows. So the Ryusoulgers think that Melto might be able to answer his questions and get him to join their side, especially since Waizoru was also trying to basically enslave Dino Volcano to bolster his forces. But both sides completely fail since, yeah, they're scared shitless of the fire-breathing dinosaur that is sealed away for apparently a good reason. And yeah, apparently that reason was, well, everybody was terrified of him, and he basically just fell into a state of self-depreciation, and yeah, I was bored a little bit cheesed off at the Ryusoul tribe for sealing him away. And Waizoru also has another Minasaur running around that is apparently able to create illusions with the mist that it exudes, which is, the Minasaur isn't really that much of a focus. I mean, yeah, it's going to be defeated in the next episode, so yeah, we don't even know who gave birth to the thing yet. Yeah, the reason why Dino Volcano is so adamant against joining them is because, again, he has a bit of self-loathing since everybody's scared of him because of his looks and his penchant for fire. And yeah, and he's actually made friends with a little kid who is recovering from eye surgery and likes to challenge him with his riddles and questions. And yeah, he thinks that the only reason why the kid actually likes him is because he can't see him. Because he's afraid that once the kid sees him for what he is, a giant fire-breathing dinosaur robot thing, he'll be, basically he'll run away from him. And yeah, Ko actually figured that out. Figured out the reason to get him to join his side. Basically, the questions are completely irrelevant. It's a false trial. The real test is just answering and not being afraid of getting burnt to a crisp by him. Because again, Dino Volcano is apparently self-conscious. And well, first things first. Before Ko even tries to answer the question, first things first, he apologizes to Dino Volcano on behalf of the Ryuso tribe for stealing him because they didn't try to reason with him, didn't try to actually, well, they be just being blindly afraid of him, even though apparently they created him, which, yeah, kind of a dick move on the Ryuso tribe, and actually kind of yeah, if Dino Volcano was, well, if he didn't have time to cool off, I imagine he would kind of turn out to be like Protoform X, aka Rampage from Beast Wars. Yeah, created by sealed away by the faction that created him, and then just discarded him because they apparently they couldn't control him properly, basically only seeing him as a tool. Well, okay, the difference is that Dino Volcano is actually a nice guy, whereas Rampage is just a bloodthirsty monster. Yeah, if Dino Volcano actually turned out to be like Rampage, as a bloodthirsty monster, then it might have actually explained and justified them stealing them. But this action just kind of makes the Ryoso tribe look like a bunch of dicks. And Ko, recognizing that, actually does the sensible thing and does apologize to him for the mistreatment he suffered. And yeah, he just answered the question however he wanted, and without being afraid of him, and that garnered Dino Volcano's respect. And yeah, giving him a new Ryusoul in order to use, which gave him basically just like flame armor. Yeah, Wiseru, being the sadistic asshole that he is, actually kidnaps the blind kid. Actually kidnaps the kid from his hospital bed, and get this. He ties him up to a wooden post, has 4 different lines of hay at the base of it, with miniature bombs at the end of each strand of hay. So, it's like the ticking clock on a time bomb. It's an old villain classic. The stick of dynamite with an alarm clock attached to it. Tick tock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Basically just slow. The explosions get closer. One set of explosives, 2 sets of explosives. On one set, then another, and then another, and then another. Tick, tock, tick, tock. And right at the base where the kid's standing on, where he was tied to, is a whole cluster of bombs. It's just slowly listening to the sound of the fire burning, and then the explosions. He's getting closer, and unless they save him, or unless Dino Volcano becomes Wiseru's slave, kaboom! Yeah, this show loves to get... Wiseru is a sadistic freak. I mean, wow. I am not convinced that he took that little speech from that Red Death gave to Blind Rage in that episode of the Venture Brothers and took it to heart. Yeah, the old gentleman villain gag. Tick tock, tick tock. But yeah, since Ko was able to earn Dino Volcano's blessing, he manages to go and save the kid. The bombs go off, but he manages to protect the kid by, his new armor basically acts as a flame reductant. It nullifies flame attacks, basically. I mean, but then again, being so close to all those bombs going off, I'm pretty sure that the kid's hearing is the least. I'm pretty sure that the kid's losing his sight is the least of his problems. His eardrums should have exploded from, those explosions going off so close to him, or at the very least, mop, 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 mop. Yeah, at the very least, it would be a miracle if the kid did develop tinnitus or completely lost his hearing after that, but at least he's still alive, and at least he'll be able to see. Or if the surgery fails, at least he'll become Deadpool. At least he'll become Daredevil. But yeah, they force the Minosaur to retreat, and Dino Volcano joins up with the Ryusoulgers, and Wiseru has still got himself a Minosaur to exploit for whatever weirdness he's... Oh yeah, speaking of weirdness, apparently Yui's dad, Not only did he apparently find the before they went to the Ryusoulgers actually went to challenge Dino Volcano's riddles, they actually looked through basically the textbook of their tribe to see if they could find a way to overcome Dino Volcano's questions, and the page that had basically the how-to guide on how to deal with him was torn out by Asuna when she wanted to read it when Melto was. And yeah, again, it's basically confirming that they've made Asuna, the only girl on the team, into the designated idiot. But yeah, it apparently flew away, and yet Yui's dad somehow found it. And also, apparently, when he was sleeping, he was sleep talking and actually giving out like some grand prophecy or something like that basically explain the history of why Dino Volcano was sealed away in the first place. Yeah, while he was sleep talking. So, is he possessed by the three dead masters, or does he just know a lot more than he does? Does he know a lot more about the Kishiryu and the Ryusoulgers and the Ryosho tribe a lot more than what he's letting on? I mean, he doesn't. I mean, I found it kind of odd in the first couple of episodes when Yui brought Ko, Asuna, and Melto over to their place, and all the Kishiryu and all that stuff. He barely garnered a reaction. I thought that was just lazy writing, but again, if he knows a lot more than what he's letting on, that would make a surprising amount of sense. I'm betting that Ui and her dad are in some way connected to the Ryusoul tribe. Just a theory. So yeah, the Ryusoulgers have a new Kishiryu, and they're going to be testing out on the escaped Minasaur next time. So yeah, Zio, very, very conflicting, very frustrating. Whereas Ryusoulger, again, it does good in some parts. And yeah, thankfully, Ko isn't a complete idiot. He's nowhere near as bad as Wright or Takaharu or Lucky. He's just not exactly. I mean, yeah, sure, he's not exactly book smart, but he's not an oblivious moron. All right. Ryusoulger seems to be. Well, again, the tone problem is very prevalent there, and Zio is still just a big old mess. So. Again, it's bad when somebody who's not being paid to write this stuff actually puts better and more thought out, puts more effort and thought into writing these things than the actual paid writers. And I'm doing most of this off the cuff, so make of that what you will. See you later for the next round of this circus. Bye-o.